Welcome to Now It's Legal podcast, where we talk about the NCAA, the NIL, and right now we are sitting with the one and only Chandler Rodgers, the gunslinger out of UNT, where he threw for over 3,000 yards and 29 touchdowns. Chandler, thank you for coming on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming on.
I'm really excited to be here.
So, you had an incredible season at UNT, but you weren't the starter in the beginning of the season. You came in at the SoCal game during the second or third quarter. Can you kind of just walk us through that? You know, you come into UNT, you're not the starter, and now you're moved into a position where you're able to really kind of shine.
With all the highs, just when I originally transferred to North Texas, I had different opportunities. So when there's good, there's also that comes bad. So just not starting right off, it provided me a different perspective because it was still a new team to me. That was a group of guys who's been there from the previous staff, so they already gelled together, and I had a different perspective. Like I said, just see how everybody plays, who likes to run the ball more, offensive line, how they protect, run block, pass protection. And then I got to see how good our receivers were. And then, it was very fast. You saw how good J-Mac was. And then defensively, you saw how they performed as well. When they're clicking, they're clicking.
Yeah. So J-Mac actually had a majority of your touchdown passes, and he ran for over 1,000 yards. When you come in, you're a new quarterback, and you're just clicking like that, how do you create chemistry so fast?
That goes back from the offseason. The moment I committed and signed, literally the next day I was up there throwing with the receivers. Mm-hmm. So, I just drove down there, and, every day after workouts and during the summer and the offseason and spring, we would throw. So the connection was already there. Mm-hmm. It didn't take long at all.
You guys had that chemistry.
Yeah, it was there.
Yeah. The start of spring ball, or how did that process? Because you transferred from ULM,
mm-hmm.
right, to UNT. So you came in there, start of spring ball.
Yeah, we everybody during spring ball is a little bit different because everybody gets repped during the spring because it's just what's left over from the previous year, and you bring your transfers in, so everybody has the opportunity to learn.
Yeah.
So we're all rotating, and you'll get a couple plays here and there. So it was a little bit harder and challenging to really just stick out because we had 6 quarterbacks in spring.
Oh, that's
so
a lot.
It was really hard to just stick out.
So what was that competition like? You weren't guaranteed the starting spot, and you started. Were you number 2 on the depth chart?
Yeah, I was the 2 after camp. When I first committed, they told me I was gonna be the starter. So it was a little bit fishy, I would say, of why I wasn't started.
Yeah.
But everything worked out the way it was supposed to.
Yeah, because you set records.
Yeah.
But you weren't even the starter to begin with.
You broke records, and the first full game you had was the 3rd game of the season. So
mm-hmm.
that says something in itself. And you're talking about the struggles that you had to overcome. Other than the starting spot, what are some of the struggles that you overcame during the season?
I would really say just still growing within the system. Because just the lack of reps going through spring, just having 6 different quarterbacks taking reps, it's hard to do. And where I was originally at ULM, I would take all the reps. So just learning the system and getting a connection with guys where I was at ULM going through the spring and where I was at North Texas going through the spring, it was 2 different places. Yeah. So I'm still learning some things in camp. When I was at ULM, I already knew everything. So I was just rolling and going to camp and go into the season perfectly fine.
What do you think were the biggest differences in those systems? Was it a totally different offense?
It was a totally different offense. ULM is more pro style, pro spread, I would say.
Yeah.
RPO based, very heavy with RPOs. And in North Texas, we're the air raid, so we're going to throw the ball 50 times a game, which I really enjoy because I did that in high school. So it was refreshing for me to be able to push the ball down the field and throw for a lot of yards.
For sure.
So another thing with North Texas, the freedom in the offense. If it's an RPO, I tag it. I can check any play anywhere.
Did you have more rushing yards at ULM?
Yes, I believe I did.
Yeah,
I believe I did.
Yeah.
So how did your time at ULM transfer over into how you played at UNT? Completely different offense. You're throwing the ball more. You said you feel like you're in high school at this point. How do you get comfortable, in such a new system?
When I was at ULM, we really didn't have a lot. They couldn't provide us a meal plan, so in North Texas, we were able to have meal plans. We had everything we needed from the strength and conditioning program and training staff. We had indoor, so that was the first time I've had an indoor. So being able to have those additional resources, it just really elevated my game.
And do you look back on it and say, I think that going to ULM first helped your development rather than just starting at UNT?
A little bit, because of just having that hunger. Because before ULM, I was in JUCO.
Yeah.
So that struggle I felt in JUCO, I felt at ULM. So just having that hunger and going to UNT and be like, hey, I can prove myself here and showcase what I can do, that I'm one of the best in the nation. It helped me do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've upgraded every single school. You've gone JUCO, ULM, UNT, now Cal.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first school I signed with was Southern Miss, and this was before the one-time transfer, so I was forced to go to JUCO.
Oh, okay.
Then I went ULM, then UNT.
Yeah.
Not a Cal.
And so if you're setting records at UNT, why not stay at UNT?
It came down to like a week and a half after, people started hitting the portal left and right from our team.
Yeah.
J-Mac left and started losing linemen and losing a lot of key pieces that produced for us. And it was like, okay, what's going to be around me? And, we had some struggles defensively, but, that'll be fixed. You just have another year, bring more people in.
Yeah.
But just offensively, knowing the people that we had that was really talented,
Yeah.
there's no guarantee you're going to get that same talent again. So
Yeah.
I just want to make sure I was in the right situation for me to be successful as a quarterback because, a quarterback's play is predicated by the people around him.
Absolutely. That all comes into consideration, especially when you lose your top weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So question, you have you're in the transfer portal, right? You have some options. Have you been able to make a visit out to Berkeley?
I visited Berkeley last year, when I was in the portal last year. So I already knew what Berkeley was like in the area, the Bay Area with San Francisco and Oakland. And I've already met with Coach Wilcox, the head coach, and I know the offensive coordinator pretty well. And, the rest of the staff, I know them because I was with them on my visit last year. So, it was just really just refreshing to talk to them again. And,
So they had their eyes on you.
Yeah.
Pretty much the whole season. You knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And when you walk into UNT, what was some of your favorite moments at UNT, even though you were only there for a year?
The first game I started. It's a little bit deeper than people think because of just the location where it happens. Because my family is from Shreveport, Louisiana, and we played Louisiana Tech, which is in Ruston, Louisiana, which is, I'll say, like 30 minutes down the road.
Oh, wow.
So I had a lot of family there. And then you talk about ULM being another 30 minutes that on the same highway, I-20. So I had people from ULM there. I had cousins in the stand, and it was a big moment because of my first game starting for the year after just going through that trial and tribulation and just coming out on top. It was very refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Who do you rely on when you're down or the season's not going right? Who is the person that you lean on?
God.
Anybody in your family that you're like, I'm calling this person?
I call my dad.
Yeah.
Because, he played at LSU, so he knows what it is as a student athlete. He knows what it feels like. He knows how to handle things differently, and he's already walked the path I'm walking now, so he can give me great advice on what to do.
Yeah. Has he ever told you something you didn't want to hear, but you're glad you heard it?
Every game. If I mess up, I'm going to hear about it. So he's really my biggest hater, but he's always there.
Yeah, that's good though. It's good to have that relationship, and it's good that you have a lot of people during the season who are gonna ride those coattails and hype you up and say you're the best ever. But you also have somebody who's gonna humble you, and what better person than your dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
And it's like, how do you take that criticism too? How do you not take it personally sometimes? I guess you guys are close enough to where you've kind of worked that out, because sometimes you can have some criticism and it's hard not to take it personal.
Growing up, my dad coached me in everything, so
Yeah.
hearing what I don't do and what I need to do, it was nothing new at all.
Yeah.
So, from the age of when I could literally throw a football all the way into middle school, he was my coach. So it wasn't anything new. It's no hard feelings. We know what it is.
Yeah.
growing up, did you always play football, or were you a multi-sport athlete?
I played everything. My first sport was soccer.
For
Footwork.
Exactly, footwork. My first sport was soccer, then I moved to baseball, and baseball, then basketball, then football.
yeah.
Football, I started a little bit later because he really didn't want me to play football. My dad wanted to play
Really?
football. He wanted to play baseball.
Really?
And then after that, around middle school, I got into track because, I mean, I was just naturally fast. He was like, you might as well just run track.
So when did you first start football? What grade? Probably still pretty young though. 5th grade?
Yeah, around there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely around. I started first couple games of flag, and after that, it was straight tackle.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So when did you realize that not only this passion and this love for the sport, but you could actually go into the college space and be comfortable, or even JUCO at the time? When did you kind of take the bet on yourself?
I've always dreamed about playing college football since the 1st grade. I mean, that was always the goal, but I didn't know for sure I would do it until like my sophomore year of high school. It was when I started playing varsity. Because, I mean, I was a younger guy, so I played my first varsity game at 14.
That's insane.
Yeah, I played my first varsity game at 14, and I went in the game and won it.
Wow.
And how
then-
many guys on that team were freshmen on varsity?
Maybe 3.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
They were on varsity, but were they playing?
No.
Yeah.
I played every game.
Every game.
That year, I led the team in points.
Wow.
Like, it was the game against Waxahachie. I had 7.
Where did you go to high school?
I went to Mansfield Lake Ridge. So this was when they had Jalen Rigger, Kennedy Snell. So, like, they had some dogs over there.
Yeah.
And that was their last game. I had 7.
Yeah,
so
that's
after
insane.
that, I knew I was like, yeah, I could play at the next level.
Well, if you're a freshman and you're on varsity, you already know that
Something special
It's
here.
like I remember there was one guy in my class was in high school and he made varsity his freshman year, and everyone knew that he was just he was different.
It's very easy to spot out.
And you
Very
played
easy.
quarterback?
Yeah, I play quarterback.
Have you ever played a different position?
Growing up, I played everything.
Defense?
Mainly growing up, I played defense. So
What did your
like,
dad play?
my dad played linebacker, so I mainly played safety and corner growing up.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just having that different perspective of defense, it helps me as a quarterback.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when you're walking into UNT, you're competing for the starting spot, you take it, boom, and now you're transferring into SoCal, and you're somewhat in the same position. How are you feeling about going into the new season? Also, SoCal is entering the ACC with the conference realignment. What's the confidence going in there?
My confidence is very high. I've proven myself year after year. I'm confident in my abilities as a passer, as a runner, even as a leader. So I'm not worried about what I can do.
Yeah. There is a starting quarterback already there. They take you in. What do they tell you on your visit when you know there's going to be that competition, whether you feel like there's a competition or not? It's there.
They told me, that they had Fernando coming back. He did some great things. I mean, he took him to a bowl game, and they haven't been to a bowl game in a couple of years, I believe. And just what they want to do offensively, just push the ball down the field and have a little zone read action in there, and I mean that fits my game. So I mean I'm confident in my abilities.
Yeah, because you've played in 2 different offenses, and you've got to show that, and they can just look at the tape and know that you do have both of those skill sets. So, now in the off season, do you work out with different like quarterback coaches or quarterback gurus, or maybe some other college quarterbacks? Like, what do you do to kind of help your game outside of just spring ball and
Shout out Coach Payne in Houston, Texas, 3CP_Academy on Instagram. I mean, he's one of the best out there. And a lot of people don't know who he is, actually.
Really?
Surprisingly. I mean, the stuff that we're able to do just with the body efficiency, minimizing movements, and just, I mean, really being efficient as a passer. I mean, he's one of the best.
Is there something that sticks out to you, maybe that you've learned over the last couple of years working with him or other guys, whether it's, maybe something small, but it's really helped your game?
As long as my back hip is pointed at my target, I can throw from any body position. And that's the biggest thing that I've also noticed with Pat Mahomes. you see all the crazy throws he makes is because his back hip is pointed at his target. So that's the biggest thing he's really taught me.
Yeah, and it doesn't matter if you have to step into it, or you can maybe throw off your back leg or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as that back hip is there, you're good.
That's awesome. Does he work with other? You said he's not well known, but does he work with other college or NFL?
Yeah, he does.
Quarterbacks?
He works with college quarterbacks. I know Pop. He plays at Texas Southern. Trying to get him with somebody. It should happen, but when it happens, I'll let you know. I'll let you know. I think they playing right now, but I'll let you know.
Okay.
So there's some notable alumni at SoCal. You have Marshawn Lynch, Tony Gonzalez, Jared Goff, and a guy named Aaron Rodgers.
Discount double check.
This is going to be the second time the Golden Bears have a star quarterback with the last name Rodgers. How are you feeling about that?
It's good. I mean, that's great company, in my opinion. But, I mean, with the last name, people could put expectations or he's not him, and I don't really care about that. But we're two different people. We're two different type of players.
Yep.
And he played in the drop back system under center. And, I mean, I play in more of a spread system. So, I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers. I'm Chandler Rodgers. So he's him. I'm me.
Love that.
So did they bring that up at all on your visit? Was it kind of a joke a little bit, or?
He was like, "Well, if you want to meet him, we can set that up." I was like, "I'm glad to meet him. I'll gladly meet him."
I'm sure he comes out there like once a year or something in the offseason.
Yeah. They have a former player locker room. So I mean, from Keenan Allen to Deshaun Jackson, Marshawn Lynch is around, Cam Jordan goes
Jared
back.
Goff. Yeah.
If they're in the NFL, they have a
Or whatever
locker.
his name is. He has an Elias name where he went undercover. I don't know if you saw that. But I
mean, their alumni and former players are very active, so they come around a lot.
Yeah.
What makes your game different? What gives you that edge that you think nobody else has, or that you do better?
I'll say the edge I have over a lot of people is I've been doubted wherever I go, and that provides me with a chip on my shoulder, and it just grows and grows and grows. And over time, I've proven myself as a passer. Because a lot of people will be like, "Well, you're fast, you can just run," but no, I just threw for 400 yards.
Yeah.
So like you can say that, but I just threw for 400 yards with like 70% completion. And the next thing would be, just being a passer first and letting my running ability take over when need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, too, that's how you build sustainability, or I think you last longer, obviously, as a pocket passer. But if you can run secondly, that's pretty dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
But I even saw some tape with you. You're just like shovel pass, whatever. I mean, you're a gunslinger.
Oh, yeah, you got to get it out.
Dynamic.
Not all quarterbacks can do that. And it's that playmaker, that X factor.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you're the second quarterback at UNT history to throw for 400 yards. Did you know that you were on pace to break that record when you were kind of on a roll doing your thing?
I didn't know that one. I knew about everything else, but I didn't know about the 400 yards one. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
1 year, man, but you still may need your statue there. Man, that's incredible.
Mean Joe's the only one who got a statue there.
He went 1 year, broke all the records, and left.
Yeah. So your running back also did an incredible job.
Both of them.
Yeah, 1,000. How do you're having to have a dual threat, and so how do you kind of like get in a rhythm to give that man a chance and also give the next man a chance?
Just trust the play call. Just play one play at a time, and just let the play come to you. Because I mean, if it's a zone read, I'm just gonna read the end. If the end squeezes, I'm gonna pull it. If he does, I'm gonna give it. It's just try to make it very simple. Just make it simple as possible. It's an acronym I learned a while back from one of my old trainers, Coach Duffy. It was KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So as long as you just keep it simple as possible, it makes the game so much easier. You play free and you relax.
Yeah. You seem like a very, I mean, even before this interview started, you seem like a very calm, to yourself guy. I even said Jalen Hurts, just the resemblance, and then the overall how you're so composed. If I were to be a head coach or own a team, I'd want a quarterback like you to just be calm, be collected while the game is going all different sorts of ways. Do you get that comparison a lot?
I do. I mean, I've been hearing the Jalen Hurts comparison for the last 2 years. So, I mean,
I was going to say it, but Grayson said
I've heard that for the last 2 years, and how you talked about my calmness. I mean, my teammates noticed it a lot during the season when things would go bad, especially we had a couple games where we're down 21. And everybody's just, like, looking like who's going to make a play. I'm just sitting there like, okay, we got this. Like, we finna come back. So, just as a quarterback, you have to make sure that you're the one who's calm, because if you're panicking and you're acting scared and acting frantic, everybody else already knows you're going to lose.
Yeah.
How much of is the game of football mental?
90%. 10% physical. As long as you know what to do mentally, the physical part is easy. Like, you're naturally going to run fast if you're fast.
Yeah.
But if it's as a quarterback, like if you see a 3-eye look, or let me not say a 3-eye look, but cover 3 look, where do you know the empty or open spaces are? So, like, you got the seams to pit between the linebackers and you got the flats.
Yeah. So, I mean, when you're down 21 like that, I mean, how do you manage your offense? You're on the sideline, you're talking, you're probably looking at film. I don't know. Are you guys looking at the tablet a little bit?
Nah, you can only do it in the bowl games.
Okay.
They're trying it out, but hopefully it gets passed.
Gotcha. So, I mean, when you're down 21, I mean, what's going through your mind? What's your mindset? What are you saying to your teammates?
Tulane would be a great example. I said, believe it and make it happen. So with that, we were down 21. And we went down and scored. Onside, went down and scored again. We just decided to play faster, honestly, and we really didn't change a lot of the play calls.
Pick up the pace a little bit.
Yeah, pick the pace up. And I mean,
Momentum
we're
going.
an air raid, so going fast is our identity.
Yeah.
And they really couldn't handle our tempo. And I mean, we had a plethora of receivers who can go at any given moment. So once our receivers started taking over the game, it was hard for them defensively to stop us.
And do you feel like that you used that faster tempo in other games and it did really well, or was it just kind of that in the moment?
Every game, when we establish our tempo, nobody can stop us. A lot of times, our struggles offensively were for penalties or just having a turnover. We cured ourselves.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, nobody just straight up stopped us the entire year. Nobody did.
Yeah, it's interesting when you get in a momentum and a rhythm like that. It's something you can't describe to maybe a non-football fan or something.
It's just you just have to see it.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, like Memphis game, we were down 21 again. We came back. I threw for 411, 5 touchdowns.
You're crazy.
So I mean,
We've got a couple games, and I don't think that's not like a coincidence. There, it's something that's like intangible that you have that. You know, when you're down, you seem to play your best.
oh yeah. I mean, when you're back against the wall, you got to get up.
Absolutely.
You got to fight. I mean, you just can't lay there and just let them stomp on you. You got to do something.
Yeah.
What's the biggest deficit you came back from?
21.
21.
I
And
know.
that happened this year.
Those games we didn't win, but in 22 we were down 21 against Texas State when I was at ULM. We won that game.
Wow.
So I mean, being down 21 this year was nothing to me because I've done it before.
Does a lot of your family attend games? Do they try to come to every game, or how does that dynamic work?
My parents are at every single game. Depending on the location, I might get more family members, but if it's around this area or in Louisiana, I'm gonna have a lot of family there.
Yeah. What's the furthest they've traveled
What
That's
was the
it.
first?
to go to a game?
That was a Navy. I would say Navy.
And that's
all the
up
way
in
Maryland, Baltimore.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a far one.
Yeah.
That was a far one.
yeah. And the team doesn't pay for those flights. They've got to pay for those
They
too.
pay for every single thing.
Yeah.
Or drive. Or
That's a lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when your back's against the wall, you can overcome a lot. Is there a moment where it's not football related, where you have overcome something that you kind of correlate it to the football field? Personally, emotionally? Because as, a guy, we deal with a lot of things, and I'm not on the field, so I deal with things personally.
Right.
Have you overcome anything personally?
I'll say the growing pains of coming from a teenager to a young man, going into a man, would be the personal struggle, because you don't have the answer to everything. And us as males, we're natural fixers. We try to find a solution, but a lot of times we don't. So we just have to go through things and experiences in order to learn.
No, I love that. Do you have any siblings?
I'm the only child.
The only child.
The only child.
All eyes on you.
That's how it's always been.
Joe, did you want to get into the 5 things? Or did you have anything?
Well, I got some. We talked about this a little bit before, but what quarterbacks do you model your game after?
I've always watched Kyler Murray, for sure, because being from Dallas, I've watched him in high school, college, now the pros, Lamar. I watch a lot of old vintage Russell Wilson. I watch Patrick Mahomes, and you got to watch the GOAT Tom Brady.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and, Kyler Murray, they kind of discounted him a little bit, but he played really well last night, too.
He did.
Yeah. And those are all great quarterbacks, but why do you model your game after them? Is it their play style, or is it their size, or why is that? Is it kind of a combination?
For Kyler and Lamar, it's play style. Because,
Yeah.
dual threats. So I have to mimic what they do. Patrick Mahomes is really his talented arm. The throws he make, how he makes them, the body position he's in while he makes them, I try to mimic those while I work out. And Tom Brady is just that clutch factor.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
know the combine is far away, but do you have some personal goals as far as metrics go for the combine?
Yeah, I do. I want to for sure jump over 40 at the combine. I want to run like a 4.4.
Do you think you can get close to that?
For sure.
Okay.
I already jumped to
4.4.
41. I already jumped to 40. I jumped to 41.
That's
The
insane.
last time I ran a 40, it was a 4.48 on a laser.
Okay.
I want to jump like a close to 11 as possible on the broad jump. I really don't care for the 5 and 5 because that's to measure your quickness, and you can watch film and see I'm quick.
Yeah, the biggest thing is going to be just the throwing and the speed there. But yeah, once you're dedicating a month or two to that stuff, you can shave off like a tenth of a second. So that's insane.
Talking about elevating yourself, back to you're going into the ACC, so you're playing Clemson, you're playing North Carolina, you're playing SMU, who's now entering that conference as well. And every year you've just elevated the level of competition. Is that exciting for you?
It is, because I always want to play against the best of the best. And, the ACC is right there with the SEC. So, it's the same region, so it's the same type of talent. Especially just, especially going to Cal, which is a prestigious university, institution, and the great tradition that they have there. So I have the ability to write my name with the greats there.
For sure. You said the greats. Could you give me a top 5? We talked a little bit before the podcast. You like watching offense and defense, so hit me with the top 5.
Players or teams?
Players.
Let's see. The best linebacker is Fred Warner. Right now, the best quarterback, talent-wise, would be Patrick Mahomes, because nobody can do what he does.
Facts.
Christian McCaffrey would be the best running back right now because of his running ability and what he can do in the passing game. Trent Williams, offensive line for sure. Receiver, that's a toss-up. It depends what type of receivers you like. So if you want somebody, you can go Tyreek Hill. Yeah. You can go Tyreek Hill. I'm not arguing with that. I'm not arguing with that at all. That's a tough one. I'll give it to Tyreek right now.
Yeah, Tyreek. But if you had to pick 2 wide receivers who have completely different play styles,
Brandon Ayuk, he's a route runner. Yeah. He's not the fastest like Tyreek Hill, But at the
Right.
same time, you have somebody who's like Stephon Diggs, who is actually faster than a lot of people think, but he's also a great route runner.
Who would you pick if you could pick any wide receiver in the NFL?
Mike Evans.
Mike Evans. Yeah.
Just throw it up.
11-year vet, I think.
1,000 yards every year. Just throw it
Yeah.
up.
Just throw it up.
Just throw it up.
They started having that conversation this year. They're like, he's a Hall of Famer. They just now noticed because he's been so consistent. But who's your NFL team?
I've always liked the Packers.
Really?
Especially with Aaron Rodgers. So, I mean, yeah. Jordy Nelson and
But you're not
Greg
you're not
Jennings.
from Green
No, I'm
Bay.
not.
You're just okay.
I just enjoy watching Aaron Rodgers.
So that makes you a secondary Jets fan now.
It's a tough
It's a tough
thing
one.
to chew.
That's a tough one.
So
'Cause
next year you're going to be rooting for Rodgers, though.
always.
Okay.
Always
Okay.
root.
Jordan Love, what do you think about him?
He's great.
Yeah.
He's got to get that playing experience in game. But I mean, everybody goes through their growing pains, just like Aaron Rodgers went through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the same exact situation.
I don't know if you remember, but I didn't love the Packers back in the day, but I remember the Packers, Aaron Rodgers playing like his first year against the Cardinals, where he got sacked, but he threw it at the same time.
Yep.
He kicked it up, kicked it up
I
in the
remember
air.
that.
He got intercepted.
Are there any
That's great.
guys you're talking with now who are in the NFL that give you a boost of confidence or just give you words of encouragement?
There's a couple of guys like Quez Watkins and Tim Jones, Kennedy Brooks. Quez and Kennedy are on the Eagles. I played with Quez and Tim Jones when I was at Southern Miss. Talked to Jalen Rigger a little bit. I mean, he's bounced around, so just having his experiences of being a first-round pick and getting traded, cut, and now he's back with the Patriots. He sees the business side of things, so he has that experience that he can give to me. And it's like, hey, this is how it is. Like, this is how they treat you. This is. And then my godfather, Booger McFarland, who, I mean, he was a first-round pick. He played for the Buccaneers and the Colts, who won 2 Super Bowls. So, I mean, he played with Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Warren Sapp. So, I mean, he played with a lot of greats. So, I mean,
Yeah. That's badass. But I thought he did media now.
he does.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's what I know
Yeah.
him from. But yeah, that's awesome.
If you weren't playing football, what sport?
Baseball.
Baseball. Oh, okay.
I
So
mean,
what
just-
position?
I grew up playing shortstop,
Okay.
but I can also play outfield and pitch.
Dynamic.
Oh, yeah.
Again,
I can do it all.
Again, folks,
I can do it all.
he can do it all.
Okay. And there was also something I want to ask you too, is because you had 28 touchdown? How many touchdowns?
29 this year.
29, and you only had how many interceptions? 5.
That's insane.
So when you only have so when you have 28 touchdown passes and 5 interceptions, only 5, like how do you stay that perfect? You know,
Over
say
70%. It's 64%.
say when Dak says I'm not going to throw 10 when Dak says I'm not going to throw 10 interceptions this year, you only threw 5 interceptions. Like how do you have that mindset? And
I honestly don't think about it. I just go play. Because, I mean, a lot of people, once they start thinking about it and they're conscientious of what they're not trying to do, it typically happens. So, like, when you're like, oh, let me just protect the ball, let me hold the ball, let me not throw a pick. And then you be like, oh, I got to throw it now, it's probably going to be interception. So, just going out there playing free. Like, I don't worry about that at all.
And that's good too, because I think the worst fear would be you're not playing free enough when you're trying to be a perfectionist and not throw those 10 interceptions or whatever your goal is, but you were still able to do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, some of them I was still mad about because it wasn't like I just threw it directly to the DB. A lot of them were just tipped. And it just makes me mad. So
Yeah.
really should have been like 2.
Tipped or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's some Kobe Mamba mentality right there for you. So, you are in Denton. Now you're going to California. Completely different places. We're talking about a different landscape of college football. Whether we're talking about the division you're going into, we're talking about NIL that it could come your way. What does that look like for you?
Shout out my guy Polo, who he works for Playmaker. He handles a lot of my off the field stuff for NIL. I mean, he's got me a car deal with Leafs. I have another one with Tops. hopefully I get this deal with A4A athletes for AAD. So just bring heart awareness for student athletes. And just going into the Bay Area, right next to San Francisco, there's every major media outlet there.
Yeah.
So me having my name pushed out there is going to bring national attention. And then you talk about us playing across the country. So we're going from West Coast to the East Coast. All the voters for every award are pretty much on the East Coast. So you have the entire nation watching. So, I mean, it'll be great.
So that was also a consideration in going to Cal, too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, when you talk about your family traveling to go see your games, those expenses add up. And I mean, how has NIL helped you?
NIL has helped a lot of people have collectives. So with the collectives, you have deliverables and receivables. So the receivables is the money that you get or your payment.
Mm-hmm.
The deliverables is what you have to do. So like you go community service or go to events. So I mean, you have to do something in order to get the money, which it'll help.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you sign a deal with Light the Tower Collective?
I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What did obviously you can't explain the entire structure of the contract, but when you say give backs, what does that look like for somebody who's interested?
So for example, you will go do community service somewhere, and you'll probably have to post about it after you're done doing the service, and then after that they'll give you your money.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it was pretty straightforward. Some also do something monthly, so you have to either attend an event or do an activity once a month, and you'll get your money that way. So it's pretty straight on, simple. I mean, it's really in a contract, so it tells you what to do.
Yeah, it's all about just fulfilling your obligations, and then you can benefit from that. With the NCAA and the NIL, I'm going to play devil's advocate here, right? You have this side of the argument that says this shouldn't be happening, NIL is bad, this is pay for play. What do you have to say about that?
I feel like 9 times out of 10, they were never a student athlete. So they don't understand how it helps us as student athletes and our families. Because, I had teammates at North Texas, even at ULM. So if they would get some extra money, they would send that home to help pay bills or the car note or keep the lights on. So a lot of people don't realize that struggle that people go through as student athletes. I mean, they're still people. They still have lives outside of sports.
No, I mean, you're selling tickets, too. You're bringing a lot of money to the university.
Like the NCAA is $1 billion business.
$1 billion business, and then you can go and Google what your head coach is making, what your assistant coach is making, what your offensive coordinator is making, and it's usually in the 6-figure range if you're doing Division I ball.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge advocate for it. You know, you guys are taking all of the risk. They're not on the field, and the harsh reality is it can be over very quickly. And NIL can create that buffer. It can create those relationships with those companies, like you said, Tops, bringing awareness for heart. What else did you say?
The A4A, athletes for AD.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How much does that mean to you that you can not only build your brand, but then you can represent something bigger than yourself?
I mean, it means a lot because it's just these people, these brands, these companies believe in me and who I am as a person on and off the field to represent them in their company. I mean, they could have picked anybody, but they decided to choose me. So, I mean, it really means a lot.
I love that. Yeah. Chandler, you're a really stand-up guy, and as this interview is going on, I can really see your heart and your love for the game, and the fact that I see you got your bracelets on. Can you explain some of the bracelets that you have on your wrist?
This one is for breast cancer. It says "Fight like a girl," and then "Never give up." Mm-hmm. So I always support that, and the other one will be the 4. So this is a FCA thing. So you have the heart for the love of Jesus, the vision sign for sin divides us. You have the cross that symbolizes, him carrying the cross, dying for our sins. And you have the question mark of, do you believe? The next one will be something that my dog Coach Gilbert got us at North Texas, just being humble. you know, it aligns with me as a person. I really don't boast or brag about who I am, what I do. I just let it speak for itself.
Yeah, I love that.
How much has being a God-fearing man helped you?
It helps me tremendously. A lot of people who are, I wouldn't say necessarily non-believers, but those who really aren't that strong in their faith and the belief, they tend to worry a lot. They're stressed out. Just having that peace that he provides me, I'm never worried about anything. So, I mean, if something bad happened, I mean, he went through a lot of bad stuff for us.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he went through a lot worse. So, I mean, if you're one of those people that believe in him, you're going to go through the same things. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to be talked about. So, it's just a part of it.
So, was that a big part of your upbringing?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. Do you want to rock into the three things to get to know?
Well, I think we have, maybe 3 questions to get to know Chandler Rodgers.
Okay.
So we have, would you rather lose your luggage or have your flight delayed 8 hours?
Flight delayed.
Why?
I can't lose my luggage. Like some of the stuff I have, like clothes wise, is like limited edition, or my friends make clothes, so I wear their stuff.
Thank you.
So like I cannot lose some of the clothes I have. I just can't. Like I'll wait. I can go back home and come back to the airport. Like I can go somewhere. I can go. Like if say I'm like in the airport in like LA, that's cool. I can go out of LA. I can leave the city and come back.
Yeah.
Like losing my luggage.
So you're fine with
that.
being late, but you can't lose your belongings.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
The limit. Hey, I'm all for the merchandising and limited edition. That is, yeah. It's like you have a sick feeling when your luggage is lost because you're like, it's not like I can just go buy it again.
Exactly.
And if anything, I got it for a really good price, and it's probably like triple or quadruple on eBay or StockX.
Exactly.
Would you rather be stuck on an island alone or with an enemy?
If you have an enemy, you have help, which I got to make peace first. I'm gonna need some help, so I'm gonna get the enemy. We gotta talk it out.
Just someone
We
to
gotta
blame
talk
it on, at least.
You gotta talk it out.
I
We'll
mean,
talk
how
it
could you
out.
find yourself in that situation?
We'll talk it out. We'll talk it out.
Just fine. Would you rather have bed springs for feet or shoehorns for hands?
If I have shoehorns for hands, like I can't grab anything, so I go with the bed springs.
Okay.
I go with bed springs.
It might be an advantage. Kind of thinking about it.
I
now.
jump a 60-inch vertical.
Yeah, exactly. You can meet that combine goal.
Grayson, you got something?
Let me think here. Would you rather lose all the contacts in your phone? They can't contact you back. Or lose $1 million.
So they can't contact me again, ever again.
Well, your contacts are gone.
So like I just lose the contacts, but they can.
No, they can't. Like those are gone. Your contacts, the people that
Oof.
you're associated with, no, you gotta restart.
But see, money's printed every day though. So I'm gonna lose the M and get it back.
We're gonna lose the M and get it back. All right, you heard it here first. Chandler Rodgers, thank you for coming on the Now It's Legal podcast. You have been an absolute joy to be around. I'm excited to see what you do at SoCal. I definitely am gonna make it out for a game.
Thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Chandler.
All right, thank you.
Is there anything else before we go? It's not too late. You can add it on here.
Let them know.
There's something,
Let them know.
or are you good?
I'm good.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. Really
Dude,
appreciate you coming
killer.
on.